Hey everybody, this is Adam and welcome to my channel. In this video, I wanted to talk about companion planting. What to do, what I've learned over the years, and what I'm doing this year in my garden. Companion planting is using plants that complement other plants, whether it is, some people will say enhances flavor, but usually it's used to bring in pollinators or it's used to prevent pests on certain varieties of plants. I used an app called Seed to Spoon. Now, they're not a sponsor, but they are an excellent app. And I even just used the free version, and I'll show that here. But you can click on any kind of plant that you're growing and look and see what complements that plant, what would bring pollinators to it, what removes pests from that plant, or at least prevents them a little bit, and what would grow well with that. Also, sometimes you might be planting in smaller beds. A lot of people do square foot gardening, and I'm kind of doing that on a little bit of a bigger scale. But to maximize your output in your garden, especially if you don't have a large garden, this app is also great at showing you what you should not plant close to other plants, because sometimes they will actually stunt each other's growth. I learned this last year with Kajari melons. I had Kajari melons growing on both sides of a trellis, and on both sides of those trellises were two raised garden beds. Well, on the left side, I had squash with my melons, and on the other side, I just had leafy greens, Swiss chard, things like that with the melons. And I couldn't figure out why one side put on a ton and the other side didn't seem to really put on much at all. Well, when I used this app and did a little research, I found out that squash and melons clash and they do not go well together. So this year, I have grown a ton of tomatoes. I love growing tomatoes here in the South, and I'm growing all kinds of varieties to try to learn what works here. And so I wanted to try to prevent disease. I wanted to try to prevent pests as naturally as I can. I try not to use any kind of pesticides that's not organic or natural on food that I'm going to consume. So when I looked in the app, I saw plants that actually complement tomatoes. One of the ones that I use is last year I put out marigolds. Marigolds have a strong scent and they actually keep pests away. Another one I didn't do last year but I'm doing this year, as you'll see, is I'm putting onions everywhere. Alliums tend to repel most insects. And by alliums, I'm meaning your traditional onions, shallots, garlic, chives, anything that has that kind of pungent, oniony smell. A lot of pests don't like that. So I have this whole little ecosystem here that will hopefully protect from pests. So I've got my tomatoes. I've got basil through the middle of the bed. And then although you can't see it, around this basil, I have planted onions, and those onion sets will fill this whole bed out. It optimizes the space. Onions will add protection of the tomatoes. The basil, some people say, actually makes tomatoes taste better. And the flowers either are repellents or they bring in good pollinators. So that's how I'm currently doing companion planting in my garden. My garden is actually in the front yard, which is a little bit different. So I'm trying to make my garden look structured, but also optimize the space. But I'm also putting a lot of flowers around my garden this time for curb appeal, but to also bring in pollinators. I'm really focusing on ways to protect my crops this year in the small space that I have. That's how I'm doing it. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe. This is a new channel for me. This is new content. I've not done this before. So I appreciate you for sticking around, listening through the video. I'm using this channel to kind of learn as I go because I am a fairly new gardener. So if you have any tips, put them in the comments below. And I appreciate you watching this and stay tuned for the next video. Thanks guys, see you later.